Now, I hate to be that guy, but I did call it, unfortunately, because I did drink some of the Kool-Aid from Duty and other YouTubers when we were on stream, thinking like, oh, is Ken Carson really gonna sell 100K? Well, maybe he's not as big as we thought he was, or the promo for the album was ass. I think it's a little bit of both. Like, there was no promo, or there was a little bit for sure, but like not enough to get enough sales outside of just like his core fan base. You know, it's really, you're just pulling from opium. And then also I feel like Ken Carson's music just doesn't really appeal to that wide of an audience. To get 67,000 first week, which is what he was projected in the first week this week to be #1 debut. Again, not official numbers just yet, but in a couple days they will be on Friday morning. That's still a lot of streams that you have to get because you multiply by 1,500 streams, so they're streaming equivalent albums. However, the picture might be a little darker than that too, because yes, Ken Carson is projected to sell 67,000 first week and debut at #1 on the Hot 200 Billboard, but 9,000 of that, 9,100 to be exact, were bundles. Probably the box sets, he's signing CDs or vinyls, all that. So technically speaking, streaming wise, he only got about 57,900, so about 58K, which is still better than the Great Chaos first week, his last project, selling 49K first week and debuting at #11, but it's really not too much bigger. So I don't know if, since he dropped that project, which A Great Chaos has since become like an underground classic for these like new generation of fans, but just a 9,000 or not even a 20,000 jump for the next project that was allegedly supposed to take him mainstream. A lot of people were saying, because he's headlining overseas in Europe, a lot of people want him to headline and like Rolling Loud, but to be honest, 67,000 first week ain't headlining the big festivals in the US. And I'm not hating here at all, because again, I liked More Chaos, but also maybe even the album concept of More Chaos being like the same as A Great Chaos, like that whole concept might have been just overplayed. It was better potentially to do something different. Also, if you ask me, the cover just like wasn't that great. The concept, the marketing, like nothing was really that great other than the music to me. And as I discussed in the last video, maybe that mysterious gimmick that Opium is trying to do, like now it's starting to slow down their own artists. Look at Destroy Lonely. It seems as though he's already kind of peaked with Love Lasts Forever not doing as well as his last project before that, If Looks Could Kill. Yes, Ken Carson's a little bit more vocal than Destroy Lonely, and therefore he's still growing. He has a stronger brand than Destroy Lonely. However, he's not jumping up all too much, especially given that 9,000 of the units first week are allegedly from box sets. Now, what I thought was funny is some fans were poking fun, saying that like, bro, like Yeet still sold more, like you were wrong, Bob. Well, if you recall, like I was saying that Ken was gonna sell like 75K originally, and then I kind of gave in to what everybody else was saying, like pushing 100K. Even people in the industry were telling me 100K was going to be easy because Ken Carson was so big, but obviously not. Maybe the rules changed or something on Billboard, which they did a couple weeks ago, and we saw what happened to Nav, where a lot of his bundles or things just didn't count, and therefore he only sold 19K. But with Yeet, people are saying Yeet 2093 still outsold Ken Carson, and therefore still the larger artist. And I think it is now apparent that Yeet, and by the way, when you look up Yeet 2093 first week, you can see my Instagram posts. That's funny. Google just gave me the call sign. But at the same time, if we look up Lifestyle, that actually ended up selling. And then if you want to count his project after that, Lifestyle, which is Yeet's most recent project, he sold 89K, which is much larger than what Ken Carson got. However, if we even want to count that though, because even though it sold much larger amounts, it still has 60,000 period, which is like kind of cheating. Pulled the Nav method. He sold almost or over 2/3. Yeah, I think it's over 2/3 of the album's first week in bundles. So it only streamed like 29,000 first week, which is less than Two Alive. Something else to note is that Cardi's album is falling off from the #1 project last week and now it's only projected to be number 6. So that's falling off hard after a month or so. Maybe that's just because a lot of the Cardi fans who were listening to music now went over to Ken Carson because they share the same fan base, whereas Kendrick Lamar, it's a totally different, like, lyrical, older audience. SZA's R&B, Drake and Party Next Door, R&B, Sabrina Carpenter, pop. So totally makes sense. But what doesn't make sense to me is how More Chaos allegedly got less first day streams on Spotify than his last album, A Great Chaos, but then for some reason is projected to sell more copies first week than A Great Chaos. So less streams, more albums. But maybe it had something to do with More Chaos getting more pure sale box set bundles at like 9,000 versus A Great Chaos only getting 1,300. But that still doesn't compensate for the difference. Or maybe it had to do with how allegedly the album More Chaos got more streams on its second day than its first day. Some people are claiming it's because Off the Meter, which was the collab with Cardi and Destroy Lonely, the streams didn't count the first day for whatever reason. I don't know why that would be the case. But then some people are claiming that you're counting second and third day together. Cap, it got 7.1 million second day. Maybe they just turned on the bots or something. I don't know. It still doesn't make sense that A Great Chaos got more streams in its first week or first day, but also was projected less and sold less than whatever More Chaos is projected. It seems to me that A Great Chaos may have gotten like a global push streams wise, and typically that encompasses more bot streams, and so More Chaos just seems like more organic, especially considering we didn't see too much marketing for this album. So that would be my analysis. But yeah, one more fun fact: Ken Carson just surpassed Lil Uzi Vert with Eternal Take 2, selling only 60K that week that it dropped, although it barely had any promo. It was like a week, and also that's arguably Uzi's worst project, so I don't even necessarily want to compare that and say like Ken's now bigger. I think Uzi's still bigger as a brand and an artist if he actually tried on a project or at least got some help with selecting the songs. But still just a crazy stat that is unfortunate for Uzi's sake. But y'all let me know in the comments what you think about this. Ken Carson, not a big dog yet. He could be one day. I feel like if he makes more mainstream music, he's definitely got his cult that really love his music, and I think this album will continue to stream super well, but just first day numbers, like, it just doesn't have the same pull as like a more mainstream name yet. The key word is yet. But I'll see y'all later. Make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord. I'll see y'all in there. Peace.